Hello, everybody, and happy Sunday. For the weekly stream, as always, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. And for this stream, we're going to take a look more on the higher time frame, then look at the lower time frame. But we're also going to discuss some invalidations here on the higher time frame as well. This stream, we're going to go over pretty much both the bearish counts and the bullish counts that we're observing. So let's go ahead and jump into it. What I want to do first is take a look at the higher time frame bearish invalidations that we have here. So ultimately, we've been looking at this pivot right here as a B wave of a flat. However, again, we've retraced so considerably that at this point, they're either one, completely invalidated, which this count is completely invalidated, so we remove it, or two, they are pretty much already near invalidation. And at this point, I would say this is invalidated as well. So we have to get rid of it. Now, I'm still not going to delete this. I'm just going to place it on a back burner, but it seems pretty likely that this higher time frame flat is pretty much invalidated at this point. So now we pivot towards our bullish counts that we've been observing. There's basically two ways that we've been observing this correction for a wave 4. The first way is with this being a flat pattern, such as this. And we were looking at a diagonal of this structure initially. However, it's evolved into more of a extended diagonal that we're observing. There is still some concerns I have with this structure, which we'll discuss more in the video shortly. So I'm not even sure if we can truly see this as a diagonal that's unfolding. However, again, we're gonna discuss that very shortly. But this is the consideration here, is that we are still going to attack this high with strength, meaningful strength. Then we will start moving down in a impulsive manner for wave A. We'll initially be targeting this low that was created, this extreme low, and also dig right into the fair value gap here on the weekly. Then we'll get a bounce, a retrace for this B wave. That's pretty much what the plan is moving forward at this time. Due to how extended this structure is getting without any meaningful retrace and without respect of this trend line where we're observing a potential diagonal. And due to this, due to the structure extending further and further and further in time without meaningful expansion up here for this wave 5, we have to look at this as being a week 5 here that's unfolding at the time. The other perspective is looking at this structure a little more with a complex perspective. Meaning it was a W, X, Y, a combination. Where we had a zigzag for the W, a flat for the X, and a triangle for the Y. Now this gives us a pretty clear invalidation point until we really take this high. We have not taken it as of yet. So there's a few ways we can start to look at the structure. And it could either bring us up fairly high, or we could be nearing completion, pretty short, where we only take the high, again, considerably, then start to move down. So in the lower time frame here, again, we were looking at this diagonal as this structure. However, since it's taken this high, this is completely invalidated at this point. So now we remove it from the board. No longer valid. Now, if we're looking at this as again, as an extended diagonal, there's a few concerns that I have. Number one concern is the strength of the wave 1 compared to the strength of the wave 3 here. Obviously, wave 3 is larger than wave 1. Now, this doesn't completely invalidate a diagonal based off of the updated rules, yet it does cause concern. It's a red flag. Additionally, when we look at this structure right here, it's fairly forced as a 5-wave structure. It's more reminiscent of a 3-wave structure. But that would cause concerns because we already have a complex 3-wave WXY here. And if we labeled this as a 3-wave structure, that would be an ABC for a Y wave. We'd have another W, another X, and another Y, which would be another red flag again. So it's becoming questionable if this truly is a valid diagonal, but I'm going to continue to entertain it as long as it stays contained within this channel here that we're observing. And it's got a lot of room to work with here. This is basically a parallel channel here. So price can dip down pretty much all the way here and still be in somewhat of a contracting nature. But once it breaks this parallel channel, then it's no longer in a contracting nature, and we may even have to potentially look at a expanding diagonal. I really think that would be pretty... That's just too soon to call, and it's a very rare pattern. Again, expanding diagonals aren't something that you typically see, especially with the 5th wave. With this type of 5th wave, price is usually funneling until it finally takes an all-time high. Never going to create extreme swings like that to take the high typically. It's typically not the price action that you see at these highs. So I don't expect it. And for now, again, we're going to entertain this idea. There's a few ways I can see it coming down though, and we'll take a look at the lower time frame shortly. But it could be either an A, B, C, or a W, X, Y. But mainly we want to take this low, dig into the termination of wave 1 so we can truly classify this as a diagonal from a structure perspective, then look for a push up, still in a 3-wave manner. Mainly because it all started off in a 3-wave manner. And if this is an ending diagonal, the ending diagonals end as 3, 3, 3s. So we want to see all these being 3-wave structures typically. Again, after we see this structure being completed, we're going to look for that impulsive move. And this is where things get tricky. Because instead of this just being the 5th of the 5th, it actually just could be the wave 1. And then we move into a wave 2, and we move up for wave 3. Or start to push down for that 3 into the 4 to the 5th. This is when things will get tricky right here. But we'll still have some good trades to make off of. Because regardless, we're going to see a strong impulse here for a 1 or an A. Then we get a retrace here for a B or a 2. And at a minimum, we expect a break of structure for a C or a strong expansion for a wave 3. Now, if we're looking at this as a complex perspective, meaning this is a wave Y or wave 4, the termination was here, as opposed to saying it was right here. There's two ways I can see this. The first way is, again, this is our origin here, where we have the wave 1, retrace for a 2, then we move up for wave 3. Now we're working on the wave 4. The only concern here, obviously, is this level that we have. We truly don't want this wave 4 to dig down into the territory or price of wave 1. So we do want to see a shallow correction here, either in a flat, even potential running flat, or even a triangle. Because we do have somewhat of a sharp zigzag structure here. So we're not going to expect a zigzag structure up here if we are to believe in this structure here, where this high is going to be maintained. The variation, still keeping this as the origin, is where you can look at this as a more bullish perspective, meaning we are really going to move up to higher prices. And this is only going to be a wave 1. However, it still could be that wave 5. I just don't think so because, again, we haven't really gone beyond this high. I don't really think we took it. And I don't believe in truncations. So I still believe we're attacking this high. Therefore, again, we can look at this from a bullish perspective, but we have to be a little creative. Why? Because, again, if this is the origin, we have this as the wave 1, and a 2, then the third price swing, then a correction, and a wave 5. The only issue is that this wave 4 dug into the price territory of wave 1, yet it did not terminate within the price territory of wave 1, which is the key thing here. And we can almost label this as a unorthodox bottom, because wave 4 did not finish within the price territory of wave 1. Regardless, we still have some directional confluence, because on most of our counts here, we're looking at this as a or W. Then we look for a B or an X. At this point is where we can kind of classify if we are really going to be looking at this structure or not. Because if it starts to really start digging down deep, it's most likely going to invalidate our diagonal here. Because, again, we don't want it to start digging down deep here. And once it breaks this trend line, this is most likely invalidated. So either we have a strong push down, or we maintain this high and have a shallow correction. Either way, we'll have clear signs to point to which counts that we'll be observing. Let's go ahead and take a look at the smaller time frame here, the lower time frame. Basically, we want to look at basically this pivot all the way from this expansion down. Because there's a few ways we can see this. So again, the target is basically this low right here in the lower time frame. We have these failure swings to take this low, creating relative equal lows right here. That's going to be the immediate draw right now for me. It's a matter of how strongly we're going to take this low. Either it's going to be a quick raid, or if we're really going to start to dig down. From the higher time frame here, again, we've looked at things from a few perspectives, but mainly it's either a 3 or 5 up here, these highs is the idea. Again, there's several ways I can see this. The first version is where we have a diagonal structure, where it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into an A wave, and we're expecting that 3-wave retrace for the B. Second perspective is we can see this as a B into a C. Again, you can expect a 3-wave retrace or an X wave. The third perspective is saying that this was a B triangle, and we're going to move down here aggressively for the C wave. This is still valid because as of right now, we've only moved up here like this, where this could be a wave 2, a flat, like it's doing right now. So it could come up, take that high, and still come back down. So take this high, then come back down for the 3, 4, into the 5th. This is only invalidated once it starts to take this high. The termination of the E wave, which is the termination of the B wave. So we'll be monitoring this one pretty closely, but things are favoring more of a bounce up first before moving down, as opposed to just moving down right away. As of right now, again, I do favor a meaningful retrace back up with decent time and structure. This was pretty quick. So again, looking for a meaningful retrace here. And then we can kind of really place a stamp on which one we want to see, but we really won't know until this structure unfolds. Either unfolds in a 3-wave manner or 5-wave manner. If it does unfold in a 5-wave manner, it does give this the opportunity to correct into something more complex as well. So as of right now, we'll just need to wait, but this does seem like a pretty strong pivot here, put in for a 3 or 5 for right now. And again, if we're looking at the higher time frame here, once again, I really don't think that we can consider this flat anymore as being valid. Because, one, we already have a complex structure here. We already have a 333 zigzag. So although this is an A, B, C, we would have to label this into a W, which we pretty much couldn't do. We really can't have two complex structures within a flat like this. And although we were labeling this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, we could potentially say that that's an A. Then we retrace for a B. But we have to expect a pretty weak C wave, because we don't want it to go beyond the 1382. And what we really like to see is it's and right here in the 1272, 1236. So it doesn't really give this C wave here, this proposed C wave, a lot of room to really grow. It's not like what we like to see. We do like to see at least a one-to-one relationship. That's pretty much what I like to see. And if we did get a one-to-one relationship, it pushes all the way up here. So it does seem like this higher time frame flats is again pretty much invalidated, but I'm not gonna get rid of it as of yet. Still gonna just place it in the back burner. And again, we're gonna be focusing more on this being a 1-2 into another 1-2. This 2 can go fairly deep. I don't expect it to. If we are truly in a cycle wave 3, we'd want to start moving up. So truthfully, I'd be looking at this as the 236 and a 382 as the last zone, anything, the 0.5 equilibrium. But I would really like to see that three-wave retrace like this start moving up. And then again, from a timing perspective, we can just use the basis of the prior correction because it was a cycle. And we'd be looking at this as a wave 2 at the primary degree, which is a lower degree. So we want that correction to be maintained within this time frame here. So at a minimum, we have a time invalidation, which is going to be key. The tricky part is the strength of this correction, is where we expect it to go. And it really all depends on where this wave 1 ends, where the 5 of the 1 ends here. That's everything I have for right now. Again, if you guys enjoyed the video, please like it, leave a comments. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any videos from our team. And consider dropping by the Discord. We do discuss Elliott Wave and also other topics regularly, so feel free to jump by. And if you don't feel comfortable message me publicly, you're welcome to message me privately as well. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll catch everybody later.